Hey everybody, welcome to a very special segment of Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony has nine fingers.
What is going on, people?
And today we have a very special guest. You know him from everything, well, all three Back to the Future movies. You know him from 976 Evil. He was in was it Almost Famous? He's been in a ton of stuff. You look at his IMDb; it's very impressive. We would like to welcome JJ Cohen, sir.
Howdy, hello.
Hey, thanks for coming on. So yeah, we know you from all these awesome movies that are, our youth, like just growing up. Back to the Future. We were actually talking beforehand, and Tony's like, I don't really like the third one. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're all great. I think they're all great, personally.
What? The third one? You like the Western, huh?
I like them all. I mean, they kind of go in order for me.
Well, I'm just curious. What's your favorite Western, Tony?
That's the one reason I'm not much of a Western fan, so I think that's why the third one kind of was a little off keel for me. So that's why I don't want to say turned me away. It's still a good movie, but out of the trilogy, it was like I didn't care for. Like if I don't like some of them.
I misunderstood. Well, I thought Kevin said that was the only one you liked.
No,
that's the one you disliked.
That was like the least out of all three.
I think they're all great. I mean,
well, it is one of the least liked, and I'll be between you and me. I hated that fucking one. Really, to be honest, it was pretty horrible. I don't. I mean, when I say pretty horrible, I mean it's tongue in cheek. It's an expression, pretty horrible.
No, but it's
not really an expression. It just wasn't that great of a great of a movie.
I thought it was fun. Yeah, I liked it.
But I'm very critical. See, I think a lot of the movies that I've done weren't that great. So Back to the Future was fantastic. The Principal, White Zack, very entertaining. I'm trying to think of some others. I've been blessed. I had a really great acting career. I always thought that I was more critical of the work as an actor. I took it very seriously. And, while my friends, or my peers, rather, I should say, at that time, their main thing was they wanted to work as an actor. That was their main thing, to get acting work. And that's certainly admirable in itself because it's not easy to do. And again, I'm very lucky to have had the 20-year career that I did. I worked 3.5 years behind the camera in production also. And that was that, we could do a whole nother segment on that in itself. But during this 20-year career, my main thing was I really wanted to win an Academy Award. I mean, that was my thing. I wanted to bring my work to the level of work that warranted that. And it's not easy to do because one of the things that I learned in this medium especially is your best work could wind up on the cutting room floor. And after that, I started having less of a, how do I say this? I held the whole Academy Award experience in less regard than I had previously because I realized what they're really giving an award for is the work that was actually seen on screen. And I thought of not just myself, but other people who just did really, really great work. And it got cut from the movie. So you never saw it. Case in point, since you are, from what I understand, the preeminent horror podcast in the country is what I heard. I heard you were voted number 2.
Word
I don't know if you, word on the street. I don't know if you'd heard that, but you're number 2. I don't mean you're a number 2 in a bad way. Yeah. What?
2 is in poop.
2 is in good. Yeah. So, but because of that, 976 Evil, the directorial debut of Robert Freddy Krueger England, I had one of the leads in that. I played Marcus. And, now I don't have any hair, but, back then, man, I was good looking, man. I was good looking. And, when I did that movie, one of the best scenes, in my opinion, in the whole film, maybe in my entire career, one of the top 5 certainly, was cut from the movie, and it was a scene with Leslie Dean and I. Leslie Dean played Susie. First of all, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Are you guys familiar with 976 Evil?
Yes. I actually watched it again today. So.
Oh, you did?
It's a refresher. Yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, my apologies. Secondly, I do hope you enjoyed it. You know, people that enjoy that movie really enjoy it, you know, and people that want to, you know, are watching it for the 80s horror genre that it is and can appreciate that also really enjoy it. So I'm grateful that you guys enjoy that. One of the scenes that got cut from the movie was a scene where Leslie Dean and I, Susie, who plays quote unquote the love interest of Spike and of Hoax, played by Stephen Jeffries, and I go up to a mountaintop, if you will, not a mountaintop, like a hill. We'll call it Kissing Point, for lack of a better word. And, you know, the scene was basically written where, you know, Daddy want to make out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I say to her, she says something like, well, take me home, Marcus. And I go, yeah, baby, we'll go home in a little bit. Let's just, you know, have a little fun first. So I go over to kiss her, and Leslie, for whatever reason, really did not want to kiss me. I mean, don't know why, but she really did not want to kiss me. So she started pushing me away pretty hard, to which I naturally just kept going closer to her and trying to get that kiss in. And at a certain point, she realized she wasn't going to win, and she slapped me. Now she slapped my head. She must have had a ring on, because I remember it hurt. I mean, it hurt, man. And so my natural reaction was I smacked her back like 3 or 4 times on her head. I opened the car door. I pushed her out. I said, if you want to go home, walk. I slammed the door on her. I spit on her. And then I backed out, calling her the C word.
Oh, geez.
And yeah. And by the way, do you guys have any sisters you want me to date? Just curious. Okay. No, you'll pass on that. but no, the thing is that as after the scene, I was like, hey, are you okay? You know, she was okay. And I was like, wow, what happened? And she goes, I don't know, but that was great. And I said, yeah, that was great. I mean, that was fantastic. Now, they cut the movie out. I mean, they cut the scene out of the movie because they said that it was too much, quote unquote, domestic violence. But meanwhile, Stephen Jeffries in like the next scene comes up to me with 2 beating hearts. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, that's acceptable, but the domestic violence thing is not. And it was just a really great scene. Now, had they left that in the movie, you really would have hated me more. And my death would have meant more. Yeah. To the overall story in the movie. And so I think that critical element, you know, kind of hurt.
Anywhere? Like, is there like a special edition anywhere where you can see that scene?
I think actually I'm the only, I mean, maybe Cinetel has it somewhere. I think if not, I'm the only one that has a copy of that.
Really?
And yeah, and it's in my storage somewhere in Vegas. So who knows if it's been warped at this point and can't even be legible. I know I have it on DVD and on VHS. It's actually a part of my demo reel, which explains maybe why I didn't work for about 2 or 3 years. No, but it's it's really a great scene, and I was actually saving it in case I had put together the reunion of 976 Evil, by the way, in case you didn't know. Back in 2010, Leslie Dean and we got reacquainted on Facebook, and we started talking about, hey, let's do this 976 Evil. And somehow I found Steven, and I won't go into the whole details, but one of the 3 of us couldn't get it together. You know, was very much into heroin and could not, you know, just couldn't show up or whatever. And I had booked us on a radio show, and I had discussed with this person who had a heroin issue and another issue. And I said, hey, you know, those are great stories, but do you want to talk about them? And I won't tell you who it is, but, you know, basically Steven said no. And I was expecting you guys to both burst out laughing. But basically, yes. But basically, yes, he said no. And we went on this radio show, and like within the first 10 minutes, he started talking about, you know, his gay porn career and the heroin. So I just went with it, being a good radio host like you guys are doing, just kind of going along with the story. Let the guest go. If he wants to share shit, let him go, you know. And it's great for ratings, whatever. And so we let him go. And shortly after that, I had gotten the three of us a gig, and I couldn't get a hold of Steve. And I couldn't call him. I couldn't find him on Facebook. I had been blocked, whatever. Cut to 10 years later. And I just thought, I'm sober 24 years, by the way. And not to make light of sobriety or get, oh, well, thanks. I just didn't drink or use. Did a few steps that they suggested to me and didn't drink or use no matter what. But back to Steven. Oh, by the way, that's not my Instagram, JJ Cohen 65. It's actually JJ period Cohen.
Okay. I'll fix it as we go.
JJ period Cohen.
Yes, I'll fix it as we go.
Yes, cool. And anyway, what was I going to say? So where was I, Tony? You're following along.
You put together, a radio show, and then you couldn't find Steven.
Oh, okay. So, So basically what happened was we, 10 years later, I did my first con again in 2019, June 2019. I really didn't want to do anymore. I just thought, you know what, people didn't. The reason why I stopped doing them in 2010-11 was because my mom was sick. Not sick, just elderly. And none of my sisters were stepping up. So I stepped in and I said, I'll do it. And I had just basically retired. I don't know how much you know about me or know my story, but basically in 2000, I lost everything in the stock market. I was homeless, bankrupt, foreclosure. I'd had a 20-year career as an actor. And I had this shitty job at this gym. I was making $8 an hour. And I worked 2 hours a day. I worked from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. opening this gym and closing this gym. And man, I hated this job. I mean, just fucking hated it. And I would train other actors, and in the middle of the session, they'd be like, "Hey, aren't you?" And I'd be like, "Yeah," and I'd drop down and give me 20. And so we do this, and finally I had a client come in. Long story short, none of the other trainers wanted her because she was 70 years old and she was overweight. She was 242 pounds. She was like 5'6" and 70 years old. And I took her as a client. I told all my friends I hated this job, and all the people in 12-step program told me, "Man, don't go there to collect a paycheck. Just go there to be of service. We know you hate this job. Just go there to be of service." So this was someone I could be of service to. And I trained her for a year, and she went from 242 down to 170. She had one diabetic pill less than she was taking. She was taking 3 diabetic pills. Now she was only taking 2. Had to go buy a whole new wardrobe. Her doctors called me thanking me, saying, "You totally changed this woman's life." And it was great to do so. And then I told her I need to move on. I need to leave. She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'm kind of lost right now. I feel like, Lucan. Remember that show, Lucan, the Wolf Boy?
No.
And Kung Fu."
I know
okay,
Kung
well,
Fu.
it was the same. It was the same story premise as Kung Fu and the Incredible Hulk, where the guy goes from like town to town with a knapsack, and maybe he gets a little girl, and has a little relationship, gets some kind of stupid job just to make a little bit of money, and then drifts on to the next town. And that was going to be my life because I really couldn't think of anything else that I wanted to do. And she said, "Well, you helped me. Maybe I can help you." And long story short, she let me borrow $30,000. I turned it into $600,000 in the first few years in real estate, developing real estate. And that was it. I retired at 42. I had a plan to turn that $600,000 into 1.7. And then my mom got sick. Again, not sick, just older. She needed some help. So the doctors were giving her 1 to 2 years to live. I thought, well, I could do this. So instead of 1 to 2 years, it wound up being 10 years and almost my entire 40s. And so when people say, "Hey, where'd you go?" and I go, I went here. This is what I did. So if I had to do it all over again, people go, "Oh, you were a great son and you were really there for your mom." If I knew it was going to be like a 10-year gig, I would not have done it. There were so many things that I missed out of not doing. And I love my mom, and my mom would not have wanted it. Had my mom known it was going to be that long, she probably would not have wanted me to do it either, but we just didn't know. And the bottom line is we did have an incredibly great time together. In 2014, November, I moved her to Vegas, and we had a blast, man. I took her everywhere to all the shows, her with her little walker, and Wayne Newton kissed her. Oh, wow. It was a highlight for her of her life, and we had a great time. We laughed a lot, and unfortunately, she passed on in July 2016. I was kind of lost for a few years, didn't really know what was next. I was dating this chick at the time, and she was so unsupportive of my mom's passing. So that breakup happened right at the same time that my mom did, and it was just a really horrible time. And but we got through it, and we didn't drink or use. We ate a lot. We ate a lot. Yeah. We ate a lot of pasta. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying, Tone?
Listen. I know what you're saying.
You eat pasta for breakfast, right? Fuck that.
Man. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If I had I would have eaten a bowl if I had it right here. So
I'm a man. God damn it! Get out of my way. I hear you. So so that was the deal. In 2019, I was ready to go. Honestly, move to a third world country, and just kind of do my thing, man. And I had the money. Just I wanted a place by the ocean. I wanted a place by the water. I mean, by the ocean, by the water. I wanted a place in the mountains, and I wanted a place in the desert. And I have my place in Vegas, and that is pretty much where, I do everything out of. So I'm extremely, I play a lot of tournament poker. If you Google JJ Cohen, poker player, you'll see some things have come up. I just cashed over 120,000 in tournament cashes, just crossed the threshold in that. My goal is $1 million. I was planning on stepping it up in 2020, and then COVID hit, and But anyway, I'm getting a message now from a guy telling me that I need to be on air right now at 6:20, and it's 6:23 on his show. But I did want to cover just two quick things if I could. Yes, I'm getting ready to go on tour. Right now, we're going to go to 19 stops in 23 days. Okay. And 19 stops in 23 days. All right. The guy's giving me his number now again. 19 stops in 23 days. I leave on July 9th. The tour actually starts July 15th through July 7th through August 7th. And we're going everywhere. We're going to start in the whole Northeast, and then we're going to move our way cross country. I do want to share real quickly. I have 3 custom pops that came out, 4 actually. One's a Marcus 976 Evil, and 3 are related to Back to the Future. They're called Skinhead Manure, Skinhead Dance, and Skinhead Pink Ball. And man, I really hope we had more time, because I really wanted to show you. Oh, there you go. I wanted to share with you both my pink balls. Now, I want to also tell you what's special about my pink balls is that my pink balls have been hand painted. And it's not many people that can say that their pink balls have been hand painted, right, Tony? I believe your balls
never been painted.
Never painted. No.
Never painted.
Right.
No.
And Kevin, I mean, what joy would that be? So I have a guy up in Portland that purposely paints each and every one of my pink balls. And I'll leave you with this. It's a little nerve-wracking when I go to the airport, because I always wonder if my pink balls might set off, the alarm or something,
As long as there's no metal in the paint, I think your balls are safe.
Well, those are actually my pink ball custom pops, but I actually think you actually have a picture of my pink balls also.
Let me see.
Well, that's my career. Yeah, we should have put that on. There's my pink balls. And by the way, these are available for only $12. For $12, Kevin, Tony, each one of you could actually hold one of my pink balls in your hand. So, maybe that's,
you got both. You got a set.
Maybe that's something to think about tonight when you go to bed.
Are they like stress relievers? Like if you hold them and you.
Well, I actually have a pink ball in the movie. And that's part of my backstory where I was a ball player. So there's my pink balls. And I've kind of made them as a souvenir now.
Nice.
But hey, listen,
on your tour, right?
They are available on my tour. They're also on my page. Everything's available at J. Cohen on Facebook and on Instagram. Send me private messages. Hey, listen, I am so grateful, really, for the opportunity. I hate to talk about my pink balls and run, but I'll thank you so much.
Runny pink balls is more concerning to me, but.
Yes.
And
okay.
You are coming to my area, so maybe I'll have to stop in at
that would be great. We could do something live there when we do that, awesome. or some kind of something. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right, love you guys, man. Thank you. Peace out.
Good night. See you.
Bye-bye.
So that was JJ Cohen. There's his pink balls. So now we're going to go to the regular show. Thanks again for listening, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yep. Bye.
Pink balls.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
And now we're live. That was a pre-recorded interview with JJ Cohen that Tony and I did. And we just, thank him again for coming on. And as always, I'm joined by Tony.
What is going on, people?
And again, we're joined by the man himself, Angel from That Strange Show. What's up, Angel?
Yeah. What up, everybody?
Not much. So we talked about this short on your show recently, and we're very impressed by it.
Yeah. That episode drops this Saturday.
Nice. And then Tony had mentioned it as well. And it's weird because I thought that I had told him that we talked about it, and I didn't. So we all found it on our own accord. So Tony, would you like to introduce our very special guest?
Sure. Is he in the room now?
He's here. Yeah.
All right. So Nate Thompson. Actually, he was. What's going on?
What is going on, fellas?
Because usually we have like a little 10-minute precursor. Jumping into it is a little bit different for us. So this is a first, but. I follow different independent groups on Facebook and stuff. Yeah. And Nate had something. He's like, I have this short. Is there any reviewers or anything that might want to sit down and review it? And I'm always up to check out anything new. And then I watched it, and I was blown away because it was like something. Certain shorts. It's like. I think we mentioned it many times before where it's either you get enough in the short where you're like, okay, I got or it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I need more kind of deal. Right, but just the way this thing was shot and just the way I'm like, I need more of this. And just the way it reminded me of all these different movies. I was thinking Texas Chainsaw Massacre at one point and the music and just the stuff behind it. I was like, this kind of blew me away, and I'm like, I need a full length feature. So, what about you guys?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Well, actually, So we talked about it on That Strange Show, and we actually did a whole bunch of shorts that day. And I think this is the one we talked about the most.
Yeah. You guys, I hit him up afterwards, and I was like, we just covered your short. A bunch of other ones. I said, but yours got top billing.
Yeah,
for sure.
I appreciate that. For real.
What it was that it's like it was so simplistic, but at the same time effective.
Sound design. Yeah, lighting, even the way the dialogue was immersed into the whole setup of it. It was definitely like there was nothing going on outside of that room. Like, that's the only thing that mattered was what was in that room at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is it's available on
that.
YouTube. It's available on YouTube now, so everyone can just go see it. And it's what's your YouTube page, Nate? Is it just Nate Thompson?
Yeah, it's a Nate Thompson.
So just go there and check it out. But how long have you been making movies?
So I guess really the first thing that I put out was at the end of 2020. Was What Lives in the Dark. That literally was like the only thing I talked about that was it was literally just me and then my fiance at the end, and I also had my daughter do some of the parts like pulling the chair, and there's like a little part where like an arm goes across the wall and then slides away. That was her, and that was cool. But after I created that, I was like, man, if I could get like some, no offense to the family, but some like actual actors and write something out to where it's a little bit more like complex, I might be able to create something kind of unique. So I mean, I guess I would say officially maybe 7 months actually since I put out my first project, but the whole last 10 years I've really been into photography and like video, just kind of mastering the art of that before I kind of put out anything. That was a big thing about it. I didn't want to put out something with like 60 frames per second or something like, absolute dog crap quality.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is we've all seen movies that we may love them, but it's like, wow, they didn't even think this out. They didn't even think shot at all.
Really. And that's the thing. Like, I just want to say, you definitely got an eye, because I checked out What Lives in the Dark, and even there, like you could see there's the semblance of like playing with the light, creating the depth. Yeah. You got the red light in the kitchen, just like and it's just like practical, but it's like there's meaning for it. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Actually, I have a question about the newer one. There's one, well, not one, but I don't know if it was on purpose. So like, as you're talking, it's pretty low in the mix.
Yeah.
So I had to crank the TV up. And then as soon as you're like, I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, was that on purpose?
Yeah, so it was on purpose. But then I realized people don't like low quality audio. They don't like the, like I mixed it to where people would have to turn it up.
Yeah.
Really loud. And then it's like, it's there. It's everywhere. And then that part where it, the table hits and it goes from blue to orange, that's supposed to like really put you back. And then... Yeah, but I get a lot of people that are like, "Man, the audio needs to be a little bit better," and it's like, "Shoot, all right."
I felt like it was. I mean, accident or not accident, I felt like it belonged to me, because like it made you like have to like really like, what's he said? Like listen, you have to listen, and I felt for like.
I had to watch it more than once. Yeah. Like I had to, like, because the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, the air conditioner's on. I can't really hear anything." I'm like. So then I started it again, and I was like cranking it, and then like my wife was asleep, and I was just like, oh Jesus, I had to like turn it down real quick. But and at the time too, I'm like, oh, this is so good, except for the fact that the audio is so low. But then that happened, I'm like, I think that was on purpose. I think so.
Because I mean, you have the room noise too amplified. So like,
it's supposed to just be unsettling. Like my goal was pretty much with any of my stuff that I put out, man. If I want to be able to watch it in complete darkness at like 2 or 3 a.m. and then like be so creeped out that I start listening for noises in the house. Like, shit, what was that? Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to create something that puts you in that mood that really creeped out. Like, I'm not sure if things are okay, but I know they are, but I'm not sure if they are now.
Yeah, I should probably check. Yeah, and then as you're going to check, you're like, I should probably turn around and go the other way.
Yeah.
But so where are you at? Like, where are you located?
I'm located in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay.
That's where I do most of my filming. I'm from Monroe, Michigan. I do a lot of filming there too. They're pretty much just like 20 minutes from each other, but they're across state borders.
That's cool. And so your first project came out 7 months ago. How long have you been messing with photography? Because obviously, I mean, it's got to look, it's obviously you know what you're doing on that end.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And because legit, like I have friends that have movies available in like retail locations that don't think that much about him. And that's something to be said for that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
A lot of people forget that like lighting is very important.
Yeah, and
lighting, like it's very important. Like you can lose a whole feel of a scene because you didn't light it a certain way. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like had you lit this any other way than like with the use of the 1 or 2 lights, you know, you might have lost the whole feel. Because I mean, you even had the haze in there. I'm like, all right, this dude knows how to create atmosphere. You know what I mean? And I was like, so that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was so going back to answer your question, photography wise, I would say like the last 10 years, just learning stuff. But going to yours, the lighting and whatnot, yeah, it is because there was a shot where Mr. James, I go back to it a lot during the film, but Mr. James is tied up. There's the 2 henchmen in the shadows right there, and then there's that blue light way behind them, behind the archways.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, I didn't have that blue light there. So if you could imagine just a candlelight, like lighting Mr. James from below, and those henchmen still being there, but nothing, like no blue light like this. That's how I was initially going for it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And then for some reason, I was like, let's try this. And I put that blue light back there, and I was like, oh my God, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is it. So I guess it goes to say, like, you know, you could always have a plan, but nothing beats that. Just experimenting while you're on set, like filming. Like, hey man, you know, we got 3 takes like this. Let me just do it like this way to see if it. I mean, hell, we don't got to put it in. Let's just see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then you end up using it. You know.
How long did it take you to make this one?
So everybody showed up at 6 p.m. I would say I set up. I had to make the fog juice, get all the lights going, get it fogged up enough, kind of control that. So I think we started filming probably around 7, and then we disbanded at midnight. So a good 5 to 6 hours.
Just that one day.
Yeah. It was just straight go for it, and we nailed it. I guess within it only took a couple takes, but we did everything relatively quick. Yeah,
that's awesome. It's cool. It's cool to see that things work out like that sometimes, because we have other stories too where it's like, this movie is amazing. How long did it take you to make? And I'm like 5 years. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That scares me.
Yeah,
that scares me. I want to have enough time on my projects to, you know, obviously get enough juice out of them. I feel like if I moved on to something that, other than Cult Affairs right now, I'd kind of kill the momentum for the rest of the year, especially in film festivals. But it's like I still want to keep putting out content on a frequent enough basis, because it's just I got these ideas.
No, I hear you. But
start making them
for sure. I mean, congrats on the 10K so far on the.
Hey, thank you
on the YouTube there, man.
Thank you. That's not a huge number, but that's big for me, because I think anything else for me has ever gone like 1,000, if that.
Well, that's the thing, is it's like with the amount of stuff that's out there, that is pretty good. I think 10K is pretty good. Like,
but it's also a testament to him, because I've seen, like Tony said, he saw him in the boards. You know, hey, check out my movie if you want to talk about it. I'm down to talk about it. And that's how I hit him up. I was like, yeah, I do a podcast. And then you slid into the DMs, and you're like, it's on YouTube. And I was like, all right, and I'll check it out. And I was like, yeah. And then me and Kevin talked about it, and I was like, you should have this dude on your show too, because it's fucking awesome.
And then legit, like the next I was like, Tony, who do we have on next? He's like, oh, the director from this. And I'm like, oh, we just talked. I was like, did I? I'm like, huh? And then I messaged Angel. I'm like, hey, he's coming on. And I'm like, you want in? And he's just like, oh, you reached out to him? I'm like, no, Tony did. It was just random, like that. It all matched up. But so
that's the one thing about like the indie, I guess the horror genre or horror fans in general. It's like, when there's one thing that comes out and, it's out there, I mean, everybody hears about it at some point in time. Anything new, like independent. So you're saying 10K. We had, what was it? The guy from Voorhees. And he was looking to hit, 10K at one point in time. Now it's got 100,000 views and all that stuff. So I think this is going to be, once someone hears about anything, especially in those groups, it's like a snowball effect that it grows from 10,000 to 20,000 to 30. Like it goes pretty quick. Like if we heard about it in different ways, that means it's getting some traction. So.
One thing is we don't shut up. So like, and we always have friends. We're like, hey, what have you seen? That's awesome. You know, and like, oh, you should check this short out, or hey, check this movie out, or whatever. Like all the time. I'm constantly texting people like, hey, you should check this movie out. It's pretty great. You know, and I'll send them a link, or whatever. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up there. And then the thing too is like, I don't know. It's with not doing it as long as a lot of these other people. I mean that's a good thing too because you're not jaded yet. So, you know,
that's true.
We know some filmmakers that make some really great, like crazy stuff, and then they just make movies because they're offered money to do it. You know, like these are directors and stuff like that, and it's just like, yeah, I got this movie. It's coming out in Redbox. It's horrible. I'm like, oh, it's horrible. Like they gave us money to do it, so I was like, okay, like
cool. So let's not talk about that one.
Yeah, we're for real. Right.
Well, you know, whatever. It is what it is.
No, I'm saying like, why bring it up though? You know what I mean? If you're not even passionate about it.
Well, I think I just was like, you have anything else coming out? Like, what have you been working on? And like, oh, we have this other movie. It's coming out the Redbox.
I mean, sometimes we have people on here who are like, oh, so you know, you like horror and all. They're like, no, not really. I just it's like how do you not like the horror genre and then make a movie that's actually at that point in time, you know, pretty good? And it's like, but I don't like horror movies. It's like,
it's a built-in audience.
Yeah. I think everybody likes horror movies, dude. Everyone wants to see if it scares them.
Right.
Is that scary? Oh, I'll see. Everyone will give it a shot to see if it scares them. And
there's always the people who are like, no, that didn't scare me at all. It didn't.
Yeah. But then you get the other side that are like, oh my God, this is supposed to be the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I watch it and I'm like, the hell kind of movies are you watching that this is the scariest thing that you ever seen in your life?
I really like Beelzebub. When that came out, that really affected me. I told my friend Scott about it. He's like, it did nothing for me. I'm like, what? Like, okay. I'm like, I guess we're different people.
Yeah.
He hates The Thing. So what kind of person hates The Thing?
The Thing?
Yeah, he hates it.
Fucking guy.
I know, right? Let's beat him up. Anyways.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, where did you come up with like just the the whole essence of it? Like, did you like? I guess in essence, what movies did you grow up that you're like, okay, I want to do this now? And because, like I said, when I'm watching it, there was certain parts, especially like the music in the background and all that, it brought me to like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre or like something like that. I was just like, this has that feel to it. So where did you get your like inspiration from?
So, growing up, the horror movies are really one of the first movies I remember watching in its entirety was Return of the Living Dead. And that's the first naked girl I've ever seen. And it always stuck with me. And I was like, hot damn. I was like, I don't know, 4 years old. It's like, it just sticks. You try to watch a Titanic or, something afterwards. It's like, no, that's not, we're in a different mode right now. So I think Return of the Living Dead, I started off pretty hot. Creep Show. I love Creep Show. Halloween. Like I was raised on the old VHS tapes from the 80s, 70s, like that style. So that kind of embedded my whole horror alternative personality, like, oh, this shit's cool type thing. But the actual idea for Cult Affairs was pretty unique. I was sitting down, I think right around the time I released like What Lives in the Dark. So it would be December, January. And I was sitting down just right here, just in this room, minus the blue light because it don't look as cool when I'm not doing something like this. But I was sitting down here, just smoking, minding my own business, just thinking, vibing, right? And then I had this intrusive thought of somebody being carried, like to meet with somebody, and then the biggest intrusive thought was an image like of a guy sitting at a table from afar, and then someone being placed down to sit with him. But my idea was more or less like one spotlight from the middle, almost like a police interrogation, like how it's all dark around, but just the middle light. Mm-hmm. So that's what I was, initially drawing it up as. And I know I don't know if you can see it, and it's kind of hard to see, but I doodled a little drawing of that in my head on that dry erase board because I didn't want to forget about it. And that ended up being basically when you see my silhouette sitting down and, where I'm smoking the cigarette or whatever, that's what it ended up turning into. So I changed up the views a little bit. But it basically, Cult Affairs stemmed from that one intrusive image of just a guy being brought to meet with another guy. And I didn't want to do it like a mob or mafia style because I wanted to do it creepy. I wanted it to be horror. But I was like, man, how can we make it creepy enough? So that's where we kind of did the music, the fog, the haze. And then the dialogue, I guess, was pretty big just to try to make it creepy without saying too much, but saying enough to where they're like, okay, I can listen to this for a couple minutes until he does something else.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't do the spotlight thing like the police interrogation. Because that's cool and all, but I think it would have made it not as horror-y, I guess.
For sure. The color, the haze, and it wasn't planned. That silhouette thing wasn't planned either until we got there, and I was like, hey, can somebody go sit down in that chair? And I started looking at the camera because I'm really hands-on with pretty much everything. I got a vision and I create it. And Javon, Javon Harris, is an absolute amazing cinematographer. He's very very helpful whenever I want to butt in and look at things. He's always cool about it. But I had someone sit down and I was like, man, this is silhouette and stuff. We can put like a candle behind them to highlight, give something back here to be a contrast in color. It might actually look pretty unique. So I had a little Godox M1, which is no bigger than a cell phone, and I turned it to the candle mode, placed it behind the person that was sitting there. I swapped them out. I sat down there, and it ended up being kind of this unique, like Alfred Hitchcock silhouette-esque vibe. Nice. And I was like, oh, dude, this is it. This is it right here. It wasn't planned, but this is it.
Yeah, that's awesome that it worked out like that. That's pretty sick. And Angel, you're dabbling in filmmaking as well, so it's probably it's probably pretty good to hear that he hasn't been doing it that long, but he's putting out the quality that he's putting out.
For sure. I've been practicing and doing shit here, messing with lights and different lenses, old school lenses, auto, manual type of shit.
You can tell the lighting alone just in your thumbnail looks pretty good.
Awesome.
You nailed it alone.
Yeah. You need to start doing some stuff, Angel.
I have a bunch of stuff. Before I jumped on, I was fucking around on DaVinci, just trying to get some stuff done. But I gotta start throwing some more stuff up. So I do little snippets here and there.
Just saying, I'm not that far away. I'll drive up and I'll
listen. We're gonna have to
stairs or something.
Where do you guys live? You guys in the US?
Yeah. Angel and I are both in Mass. Tony's in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was literally just in New York yesterday, so you guys aren't far at all.
Nice.
So literally, let's put this together. If you guys ever needed help in doing a horror film, I absolutely would love to come to New Jersey or Pennsylvania or wherever you guys are.
All right, cool.
Angel's like, what?
Cool.
Let's do it.
I'm trying to do a lot of cool stuff with a lot of cool different people, man.
I hear you, man.
You guys seem pretty cool.
What part of New York were you in?
Rochester. Okay. We
Okay.
went there for one day. We picked up a vehicle that I'm going to use for not necessarily a camera car, but like kind of like if I'm going to hand out posters or doing anything with the film or going to film festivals, kind of put everybody in. So we picked up an SUV yesterday.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
That's cool.
Dude, I wish I had posters. I was like, damn, could have handed out posters here.
Yeah, you should have with the old school glue, just throwing them up.
Yeah, for real.
Speaking of, this came in the mail.
Hey.
Yeah, I gotta grab one of those.
Got it.
What's up, timing? Came in the mail.
Exactly. Like that was like it was like perfect timing for me because I did a thing. My Vinegar Syndrome package came in the mail today.
Finally.
And then this, and I'm like, oh, look at that! Like, definitely
glad you got it, man. For real, I'm glad you got it.
Hey, I thank you. I appreciate it for sure. We have so many people on. If I can get some memorabilia from the movie and whatever, it's definitely I got to start hanging most of my stuff up. So it'll definitely go up.
You're selling those generally, right? Or
Yep. I was selling them for $20. I have a lot of other posters I sell for $20, but I went with a different supplier, so now I can buy them in bulk and I can sell them for $5, $5 to $10 shipping, whatever.
So if you want a cool poster, the poster. I think when we first initially talked and I said, "Hey, I checked out the IMDb page." I'm like, I'm liking the stills I'm seeing here, and the poster looks awesome. I haven't watched the movie yet, and I just want to let you know, like aesthetically, it looks awesome.
Appreciate
cool.
that.
Thanks,
like,
and
light just went off. Look at that.
Okay. It is one of those situations where a lot of times the movie doesn't match the poster very well, or it's like, oh, this poster looks awesome, the movie's going to be great. And like, no, it's hot garbage, but this one, it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's giving me hell sometimes because, I definitely get some backlash from the upside down cross. Some people don't understand it's a horror movie. I got 5 lines of Bible verse tattooed across my chest, and people tell me, "Hey, you need Jesus." It's like, man, this is just a horror movie.
Yeah,
like
it's pretend.
These are probably the same people that'll go and try to review or put lines like go on IMDb and say, "Oh, this movie sucks." Why does it suck? Because it sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why it sucks. Oh, because it was bad.
Because I don't like.
Yeah.
The guy
I wouldn't take too much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take too much from those.
It hurt my ears when he yelled. I didn't like it. I don't know. People are just crazy. I don't know.
I was checking out
in your area, but around here, it's. I don't think anyone cares around here. Anymore. Go to the horror conventions when they finally start up again, and you'll be good. You were talking about like film festivals and stuff. Are you in any film festivals like coming up?
Yeah. So we were in. Let's see. I think the third one already happened, or it's gonna happen. No, the Thrill, Chills, and Kills Festival. That one, the first 3 were online, so it's hard to like. No offense to any of them, but it's like, man, they're not. It doesn't have the same effect as like we gotta be there in person, blah blah blah. But PA HorrorCon is gonna happen August 21st, and that's kind of big for us because that's the first in-person one. So I'm thinking like, shoot, man, how can we go and make this? I'm planning to hit a bunch of these, but just this one alone, how can we go and really hit this one and leave a mark on it? So I'm probably gonna. One of the things I do, kind of eat the bullet, and I just get posters printed. And if I sell them, cool. If I can sell them, cool. If not, my goal is to really canvas and spread the posters, kind of like just old school elbow grease style, and just canvas them and get them out there in a sense, right? So like I had plans to go to this PA HorrorCon, and I'm like, man, I need to go maybe order a couple thousand more posters and just start handing them out to people there, because I don't know if we're going to be able to get like a table or anything like that. But just something. I need to get the
slipping them into people's pockets.
It's like, what the hell is
I was going to say, a lot of times there's a table at a con where there's like little handouts and stuff like that. Just make little versions of the posters. Just walk by and just leave a stack on the table.
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't do anything. And then people would be like, "What's this?" And then are they going to have like films at the festival? A lot of times they have like screenings and stuff. So it's going to be there. Yeah.
Yep, it's gonna screen and play there. Hopefully win awards. We'll see. Fingers crossed, that type of thing. But the biggest thing really is just getting there and making the presence known as much as possible, and doing that across different states and different festivals, and really just I don't know when I'm gonna stop trying to make the presence known, because I don't think even if I get to 1 million people, I don't think would be enough for me. I think I would still be printing out posters and going to videos to shops and being like, here's a bunch, or putting them up in the walls. Or it's just I guess the work mentality, to where it's like, I don't know, I can hope that it happens, or I can literally just give somebody a poster and go, this is my movie, check it out. And then they get home and they're going to hopefully check it out. If not, they might open it up and be like, oh, what the hell? And see the upside down cross and throw it away. That's fair. I'm not going to win all of them, but
just go to a church, just leave a stack of posters there. And then you see them, they plaster them up, it's all upside down, so the cross is right.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, dude, what?
This makes no sense. Why are the words upside down? I don't know. Yeah, that's sick. I mean, it's really cool that you're able to do this, with as little experience in the filmmaking as you have. So I'm sure we'll do some more. Yeah. Now, do you have any intention on making this or expanding on this at all?
Absolutely, 110%. We're yeah, so we're making it into a full feature film, and we have, it's pretty unique. We have God, I can't say who the special like guest actors are, but
we could talk once we hit pause on this.
It's pretty unique, and who we're trying to get still on top of that. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a full feature, and we're gonna pretty much start filming within the next month or so. But I think September is when we start filming.
That's awesome.
The dates, yeah.
That's sick. Even the turnaround for that's pretty great. And
I try to move. I don't. Without sacrificing any details.
Yeah, like he said, if he moves on from this, like there's momentum right now. So feed him the short, and then hit him with that full length.
Right? Because we can probably squeeze a good year and a half, 2 years out of promoting it. Yeah. Really, just cult affairs in general, and maybe I don't know. I kind of want to use that poster or a variation of that poster again. I'm in love with it. Just the design for it.
That stuff sticks with people. I mean, we're all collectors.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if you ever heard of the movie Pieces of Talent, but they had like some of the best like handout stuff at convention. Like,
for real?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't have it next to me, but there's like one of the characters. It's like a face mask that they were just putting out, and like, I don't know, like there's bobbleheads. It's a movie that doesn't warrant bobbleheads at all.
Those are my type of people.
Yeah, and like there's bloody VHSs that you could buy with like the trailer of it, and it just says "Help me" on it, and like it's sick.
I don't know who those guys are, but I love them.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's my energy. That's exactly because, I mean, why in the world would anybody create a poster for a 6.5 minute short film normally?
Why not though?
Exactly. That's exactly why. And I was like, man, if I don't do this, I'm going to be doing it a great injustice. And then I did the design, and I'm like, man, I can make this into shirts. And then I can make a couple different designs. And then, now we can market it this in a way to where, and this is just 6.5 minutes. People are like, oh yeah, dude, Cultivar is sweet. And I'm like, yeah, you watched it? And they're like, no. I'm like, how do you even know about it then? Like, you just
shirts,
they see the shirts or the posters, yeah, or me constantly just pushing it out there.
Yeah,
like right on. All right, hey.
I don't know. It's you definitely it's got legs for sure.
It does. It does. And I was looking through your YouTube. You got the What Lives in the Dark cult affairs that you've done, but I checked out music video here you did was for Zach Nevers.
Yeah.
It's
he's a good friend of mine. He's really good at what he does. I kind of dabble a little bit in music videos for him. My main thing, man, I don't know how it started. It was just a personal thing that I wanted to do. But I recorded a professional wrestling event for Rhino.
I saw that.
He's from my hometown. And I was like, dude, I grew up on horror movies and wrestling. Like, how am I not? Because Kane was like a big, I fucking love Kane. And it's like, how am I not going to reach out to him and be like, let me film this one event just for. And then I did that. And then a bunch of people were like, hey, dude, can you film my wrestling event? And I'm like, uh-oh. This is something that's like real. People really want this. I was like, all right, maybe I can. And this is one of the guest actors in Cult Affairs. Like, comes from a couple of them really come from the professional wrestling world. So it's like unique how it all ties in.
Yeah,
but it's
horror and wrestling like are married anyways.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I've come to realize that.
Yeah, and
you could throw those guys through a wall if you need to.
Literally. But as long as they know, like, okay, if we're doing stunts, there's no stomping on the ground when you punch this guy. Like, we do a little different. There's no turnbuckles in the corner of this room.
Now, being in photography for 10 years, did it make it a little bit easier transferring over into now filming and everything? Now you know what to look for, kind of deal, and actually what you're looking for and angles and all that stuff.
Yeah, 110%. I think that's the only reason why I was able to put out anything of decent quality with relatively low professional film experience, like putting out content, because I kind of already had the basics very well understood, because, rule of thirds is a big one. Creating that kind of cinematic look was always big for me in photography. I didn't like normal photos. I always liked making it look like it was out of a movie. So once I learned how to create that, it's really just creating a rolling shutter of images that create a video. And it's like, okay, well, this is
moving pictures.
Right. Right on. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, now it was kind of, if I didn't have those, good 10 years of just researching and, going places and doing photos and not liking them and working, harder to put out good stuff and then put out good stuff, I think I would probably been a little bit farther behind on this.
It's still 7 months. Like that. I don't know. You're saying farther behind. I've thought about things for years and I haven't even started anything. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this one day. How many times, Angel? How many times have we talked about like starting like a t-shirt company?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. We know this.
How long? Like you said, it took 7 months from the idea to like casting. You said you didn't want to use fit. Like, did you just use friends, or did you actually go out and cast, or how did that work?
So that was pretty unique too. I wrote it. I probably wrote Call to Fairs in late December to January. We filmed it in early February. I believe it was February 6th. So literally from time I wrote it to time we filmed it, it was about a month. So I put out the casting call for Mr. James' character only, because I had the two henchmen already figured out. They were going to be my buddies. They run a podcast, Brain Jerk Family Podcast, Brain Jerk Entertainment, So I knew they were already not performers, but I knew they were already in that field to where they would be comfortable, and I knew they could do it if they were just directed properly. And they nailed it. There wasn't much dialogue. I think each of them had a line or two apiece. But I knew that part would be good. The biggest part was finding someone to be Mr. James, because even though you have a piece of duct tape on your mouth, you still have to convey some sort of emotion that, shit, dude, I'm terrified, that type of thing. So put out a casting call the first week or two, which would have been, mid-January, and then got a good flood of like 10, 20 people immediately. And then I just went through, and Nigel was one of them. And I was like, this could definitely, this guy has the look, the kind of businessman look, kind of slender. You put him I'm trying to picture him in a button-up shirt. I'm like, this could be it. He had a music video before. He didn't really do too much film stuff before, just a music video and whatnot, and some acting on stage, I believe. And I was like, yeah, dude, let's figure this out. So I got in contact with him, and he showed up, and he just nailed it. It was one of those things where I started doing the dialogue first, and I think it helped set the scene for him to kind of act naturally, like comfortably scared.
Yeah,
he did a really good job. I mean, he's with never doing anything in horror before. I think he did absolutely amazing.
Maybe he was really scared.
Yeah. He's like, man, this is a film, right? Like, I just answered this ad on Google.
Yeah, this is Craigslist.com. I don't know about this. This guy's talking all crazy.
Poster with a cross in the corner. I don't understand what's going on.
You're like, wait a minute, man.
Yeah.
It's not even Little Caesar's Pizza. This is weird.
But yeah, Wolfie, one of our other guys, he wasn't available tonight, but Wolfie, he's in the room, and he loves movies about cults. So yes, it's he's working on a full length. He just came in, so he didn't know that. So Cult Affairs, Wolfie, you should watch it. I think you would love it, and we should review it because we also do him and I together. We do reviews as well. So let's do that, Wolfie. Cult Affairs on YouTube. I'll send you the link. I really think you would dig it. It's short, but it's leaves you wanting more for sure. So yeah.
Oh yeah, appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
We talked about the feel and everything, like the music too. Like how many different songs did you have to go through to be like, okay, that is definitely like the feel that I'm going for? Like was it like you knew one that you had in your mind and you're like, we're going with that? Or did it have, 20 different songs that you're like, okay, we gotta fidget around with it?
So I knew that I wanted to go old, and it helps going old too because public domain, or you get stuff that you don't have to pay licensing for.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
But there's such a large archive of stuff that you could really still be original and use stuff that people really don't use or whatnot. But I knew I wanted to go old regardless because I wanted to be an old-fashioned record. I was thinking like maybe 40s, maybe like I don't know, early 1900s, like something creepy. I was initially wanting like a female voice, like a soft female voice, but on an old screechy record, kind of just being lingering and super creepy. So I went through a few, and then I heard that one, and just the way it started with the record sounds and his voice, and I was like, man. I listened to about 45 seconds of it to a minute of it. Just the way it droned out, I was like, it don't sound creepy by itself, but paired with the scene and paired with the ominous hum in the background, it's like, this is it. This is 100% it. It was just one of those things again, like you wanted something else, and then you offer the option to let things come in when they happen, and you're like, oh, dude, no, this is it. This is 100% it. Instead, I don't want that female voice. I want this, which is Frank C. Stanley. I think Where the Mockingbirds Roam or something like that was one of the songs, but it's perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, it's there's so many really cool, weird, creepy songs out there. It would
besides Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Yeah.
Besides that one,
like the old original, Putting on the Ritz. You just put that in the movie.
It's so funny how songs were put out they were probably put out to make people like feel happy and glad, and then this song's used to exactly.
100%, just weird and creepy. Like, what is this, man? This is
this song really makes me want to tap my toes or bludgeon one or the other.
Well, that's the thing. You used it, but you let at that point, like the bottom dropped out.
Yeah,
and it's just that lingering too. That's like.
That like in the background the whole time. I was like, Jesus, really getting to me.
And that's awesome that you were able to pull that off, and and you did that twice in a row, which was like, with the music cues, and then also with the screeching noise before I'm not gonna say what, but like before the actual action. But, it was like.
Thank you. Yeah, one of my biggest things that. I always want to make sure that I put as a priority is pace, and I think a lot of I watch a lot of horror shorts, horror movies, just horror things in general, and just films in general. And I think one of the things that can make a lot of things better is just pace. You just give scenes a little bit of time to develop and just make people feel. Mm-hmm. Rather than hurrying up and rushing into the other scene. So, like, and for example, if I turned around with what I had and it just hurry up and cut off and then went to another scene, it's like loses all of the energy. But if I let it drone out there and I just stand there, people are like, "Dude, what is this?
Yeah,
like, this is
I'm a big fan of slow burn for sure.
Yeah.
Slow burn. Do you have any directors that you're that like particular slow burn kind of movies that you've enjoyed recently, or?
So not recent. I want to say recently, so to speak. I noticed that a lot of my love is still for classic horror movies. I think that's because I grew up on that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the influences for sure growing up and, realizing that pace is important was Halloween, John Carpenter, the original Halloween, and just the time, that was taken to actually sit there and one of the scenes or to move around the house and follow the people rather than just hurrying up and cutting over here and then cutting to the next day. It's definitely it's like atmospheric for sure.
Yeah. One of my favorite slow burn. He tends to make slow burn movies, but and I'm sure Tony and Wolfie in the chat are probably sick of me saying it, but Ty West. I really enjoy Ty West movies. So House of the Devil, when we ever saw that. No, you should. It's really good.
Ty West?
Yeah, just House of the Devil, but it's I legit when I watched it, I was like, how did I miss this movie growing up? I thought it was a movie that was made in the late 70s, early 80s, and it wasn't. It just totally felt like it. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, that guy's not that old. I'm like, wait a minute, and I'm like, this movie's like 4 years old. I'm like, where the hell?
That's awesome. Hell yeah. I'm always down to check out stuff. Like I know I watch a lot of classic stuff, but whenever I get recommended stuff that's modern too, I usually always try to check it out. It's just like favoritism, I guess.
Yeah.
But if it looks like a classic horror movie, dude, absolutely.
There's enough out there, right? So
Wolfie's got.
If you like Euro horror or Italian or J horror at all, do you get into like foreign films at all?
Not too frequently, but there was one that I did, and it always sticks with me to this day. And I think it was it Shudder? I want to say that's what it was, but I'm not sure. It was a Japanese film, and it was about two photographers.
Okay.
And essentially the premise was that there was a lingering demon on his back the whole time, but they didn't realize it until it was exposed. But that was the only, my fiance's not really big with subtitles. She hates reading. I'm like, come on, it's so easy. Like,
I agree with you 100%. My wife's the same way. She doesn't like black and white movies. She doesn't like movies with subtitles. I'm like,
yeah, and it's just like, sometimes that's where the best is.
When you said Shudder, I was all excited because Wolfie and I, most of the movies that we review are on Shudder. But if you happen to have Shudder, or no one, there's a ton of really good foreign horror on there.
But at that time too, like a lot of the foreign stuff, like Italian horror and stuff, that's like atmosphere. You look at like Argento and all them. It's like
all the Giallo stuff.
Giallo, and it's all like I don't want to say fancy, but the way it's shot is so like fancy, atmospheric and stuff like that. So I think being a photographer, I think you'd be into that kind of stuff where it's like, I mean, Argento has the colors and all, like Bob, and like it's just it's filmed so differently.
Wolfie's we're talking about Italian horror, by the way, and he's so surprised he misspelled horror, but
horror. But I had to. Wolfie used to yell at me all the time, and he's like, "You got to start checking." And I have checked out more. I should check out more than I have, but definitely it has such a different feel that I think I have to, because I'm so ingrained with the slashers and stuff myself, that it is such a flip that it's like I got to get used to it. But watching more, I can appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. For sure.
Yeah, there's a ton of good stuff out there. If you don't have Shudder, get it. It's like $5 a month.
I think I do. I think I do. Yeah.
That's crazy. You think you might have it, and you're like, I watch it more than I watch Netflix. Like I legit watch. I watch Shudder all the time.
You know what's really good?
I'm on Tubi.
Oh yeah. Tubi's sick.
I'm on Tubi, bro.
There's movies that I was like, oh, I really want to see this, and then we ended up getting the director of Don't Fuck in the Woods. And it's like I'm like, I've been wanting to see that, and it was on Tubi. I'm like, what? I'm like, this movie's on Tubi? That's crazy.
There's a lot of hidden gems on there.
Tubi is where it's at. Yeah, 100%.
A lot of the well, I think Found is on Shudder now, but some of those movies like Space Babes from Outer Space, and I think Headless might be on Tubi. So a lot of those like out
Found
there.
and Headless.
Oh my god,
that's like finding those movies in the freaking Walmart bin.
That's what
it's
I
like,
did.
oh, what is this movie about? Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay. I don't think they know what they have on here at this point.
I legit found in the bargain bin at Walmart for like a couple bucks on DVD. But that movie's ridiculous. If you've never heard of it, then they made a spin-off of it called Headless. It was like based off of a video that they watched in the movie. It's crazy. There's a scene where a dude is banging his mom's severed head and stuff is dripping out of the neck, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like really went in on that.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah. They went in.
What's it called?
That one's called Headless.
Headless.
Yeah, it's got Ellie Church in it. She's phenomenal. If you don't know who Ellie Church is, she's great. And yeah, Brian Williams, not the news anchor. But yeah, it's Brian K. Williams. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. So
yeah.
You're planning on starting filming in a month or so, or
September.
You already have everything set? Like, do you have? It sounds like you have most of the cast already set. You have locations and everything. Like, are you just ready to go? You're just waiting for that date.
We're ready to go. The thing that we're really working on right now is whether or not we have to secure another lead, or if our lead, because how we're doing it, it's very interesting how we're doing it. But yeah, September is basically when we're going to start. We don't have to film the majority, like the meat of it, until slightly towards the end. But September we start. If you can imagine, like Cult Affairs, like the short film part 2, 3, part 4, part 5, but all together in one film, and then there's something that puts it together as meat and potatoes that is filmed separately, type thing.
Oh, okay.
So are you approaching this like kind of like an anthology type deal, or?
No, that's how I was originally, because I was going to do them all short films, but then I was like, man, if I just did it, put how I wanted to do it, the short films almost as scenes into the movie, and then had some like meat and potatoes, some glue, an actual like formation to put it all together and make sense.
Like kind of like there's a main story and like you're referencing other things, and it just like almost like flashback kind of stuff.
Kind of exactly, yeah. So when you see it, you'll know 100% how that works, and you know what we were talking about and stuff. But yeah, you're pretty much.
I'm on the right path.
Yeah, you're on the right path for sure. Yeah.
Now, is anyone from the short going to be in the feature, or is it just
the two henchmen? I want Mr. James to make a like. He obviously can't make an appearance as Mr. James, but I want Nigel to have some sort of like
little cameo.
Almost like a little cameo where he like opens the door for somebody and nobody even realizes it. But if anyone's seen the short film, they're like, "Wait a minute, is that
a little nod?"
Like, sorry, guys, wrong room. He just turns around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he opens the door and it's like him in the chair with the tape again. We're like, "What the hell?" Just shut it and move on. Something, like. We could do anything, but I'm always big about like there's no point in just working with people at one time and then going all right, whatever.
That's the thing is there's we know a good amount of like small production companies that work with the same people all the time, and it's like they all progress. Like the thing I like is I like to see the progress. So it's like you can watch like an early film where it's like, okay, they were in high school or whatever,
right?
And just wow, now they're like making legit theatrical quality stuff. This is
yeah.
You just started at the other end. Wolfie's asking if you can talk about the cast or anything, but I know like that's something where you're kind of hush hush for now.
I'll say some of the cast is well-known professional wrestlers, and then some of the casts are not. And then, there's also some other big names.
Like they're like horror icon kind of people, or?
Yeah. And I just, I I can't say it. Even off air, I just can't say it.
We'll just take a bunch of guesses, and
Well, yeah. There's one person that I'm really, really wanting to hear back from, but obviously, filming starting so soon, it's like, I almost kind of just cross that out. But like, man, dude, I really want this one person so bad.
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Is it name F and then with Alyssa Rose?
No, but she's I would say like a horror icon, and her horror iconism is rooted in the 90s.
Okay.
So without leaving too much to the imagination.
All right, let's see, because we're gonna make him spill the beans. I'm like, all right, keep going. Is she?
Just real quick. Someone is late to the show. It's Maxwell. He's asking for a quick synopsis of your film. So this is a short film that you can watch on YouTube right now. It's only like 6 minutes long.
Yeah, 6.5.
And it was so effective to myself, Angel, and Tony that we've been talking about it for almost an hour. So that's the thing. So yeah, do you want to just give a quick synopsis about sell this film to Maxwell?
Yeah, so pretty much the quick synopsis is following a business arrangement gone wrong. Mr. James is brought to meet with the cult that he crossed, and once he does that, it's on the inside where he realizes the devil truly lives. So without giving away too much, that should give you enough inspiration to go, what the hell does that mean? And yeah, you should definitely check that out.
Yeah, and just go to Nate Thompson on YouTube. And
or Cult Affairs, and you could pretty much Cult Affairs Google now, and everything should pop up.
Yeah. And then to throw a couple views on that other one too. What Lives in the Dark? I thought that was pretty effective. I
haven't watched it, so I'm gonna go and do that as soon as we're done. As soon as we're done, we're just about time to wrap up. So, so Nate, where can people go to find out more about you? Not just the YouTube, but like you have other social media and stuff like that.
So www.com or .com, NateThompsonPhotography.com. There's Facebook.com/Nate Thompson Video. That's my big one. I post a lot of like wrestling footage and movie stuff that I'm doing currently. That's usually pretty up to date and current. And then I have a Facebook.com/Cult Affairs, so you can actually go just for the Cult Affairs. So
click.
Exactly. So yeah, Angel, what about you?
You can find me on That Strange Show along with Ryan and Mandy. Every couple of weeks, dropping some new episodes, and then just hanging out. And so new episode this Saturday. We talk more about Cult Affairs and a bunch of other shorts, and we get into some independent horror love and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And just real quick, Max, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm a fan without seeing anything. So you sold him on that.
Horror and wrestling, that goes hand in hand, man.
Right, that's right. Tony, what about yourself?
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews or anything movie related, unboxings, like I did the Vinegar Syndrome stuff. Tony Has Nine Fingers on Twitter, which I hardly ever use. On TikTok, where I do movie reviews, no dancing, no twerking,
little twerking.
You have those stupid filters on your face, and you're just shaking your asshole.
You called me. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me, and of course here most Tuesdays on the Wicked Horror Show, and also not only check out the short, but check out the
it's upside down, Tony. Right.
Well, listen, Jesus was watching me. I didn't want to hold up but look for some posters. They are now reduced price, so what they were before. So check out the merch as well. And Kevin.
A Knuckle on Instagram. Besides doing this every Tuesday, I also do reviews of the 13th Wolfman over on the audio side. Everybody. And part of Black and White Fright and Secret Underground Hideout, all of which are on the Dorkening Podcast Network. Go to thedorkening.com for more information on all of those shows. And thanks for watching. And thanks for listening as well. And have a good night. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Once.